21-year-old dies in hospital. Journey with him through the veil of death and back. Welcome everyone. My name is Samuel, I'm 28 years old, and my journey began in 2016 when I faced a serious illness called leukemia. Before that, I had been experiencing symptoms like pain, night sweats, and weakness for a long time. In November 2016, while at the gym, I suddenly felt extremely weak and passed out. When I woke up, I was in bad shape, with one side of my body swollen and purple. I had to go to the hospital with my parents. The doctors did some tests and told me I had chronic myelogenous leukemia. It was tough news for my parents, but I felt relieved because it confirmed what I suspected. However, my parents were understandably worried about my life. The doctors explained that I had too many white blood cells, which could lead to acute leukemia, a more dangerous form of the disease. I was only 21 at the time, which is rare for someone to get leukemia. They gave me two options: regular treatment with a risk of the disease getting worse, or aggressive treatment in the hospital with a chance of putting the disease in check. The aggressive treatment had its risks too, like the possibility of a heart attack because of the strong medication. I chose to go for the aggressive treatment, believing that everything happens for a reason. I knew it was a risky decision, but I decided to take a chance and trust the doctors. Exactly as they warned, after taking so many different medications, I experienced a lot of side effects. At one point, I didn't even know who I was. It was very crazy. Then, within a day or two, I went to sleep, and this is where the near-death experience happened. At first, it felt like a dream, a normal dream. I saw this person that I knew in real life, a homeless person who used to work with me in a restaurant. When I first went to sleep, I saw him in the dream, and he said, "Finally, I found a place to live." We decided to check it out. When we got inside, we sat down at the entrance, but as we were talking, the place started getting smaller and smaller until I couldn't breathe. In the dream, I felt intense chest pain, and it got so painful that I couldn't take it anymore. That's when I died in real life due to having a heart attack caused by the medications. I passed away, and when I mentioned it, he responded immediately, saying, "Yes, you're right. Let's go inside." His words brought relief. As we entered, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace. The place was vast, all white, seemingly endless. We walked, and on my right, I noticed a beautiful, radiant light emanating from a queen-size bed. It was like nothing I had ever seen before. The light seemed alive, filled with energy and life. I couldn't focus on anything else as we walked. It felt like I was caught between heaven and earth in a higher dimension. Wherever the light touched seemed like a heavenly realm. Suddenly, a balcony appeared in front of me with no railing. Looking down, I saw a grim scene like hell. I was about to fall when my friend in the dream, the homeless man, saved me, but he fell instead. In that moment, I realized I was in a dream, resting in a hospital in Miami. Everything became incredibly real, more vivid than any dream. I knew I was dead, and it felt strangely like coming home after a long time away. It was like waking up from a dream that lasted 21 years, realizing that Earth was just a part of it. This realization filled me with a profound sense of belonging and peace. Now I'm back home, but what I saw felt incredibly real. It's like everything around me was alive with energy. I could see particles of energy moving through the floor and everything else. And then, on the bed to my left, where the light was, I saw my great-grandma. She passed away in 2006 after being married to my great-grandpa for about 60 years. As I approached her, she was sitting on the bed with a beautiful, glowing light above her. You could tell how someone feels just by looking at them on that queen-size bed. I've never seen anyone so peaceful in my life. Her peace seemed to fill me with peace too. I asked her if my great-grandpa went to heaven. Even though she couldn't speak like we do, I felt like she understood me. When she smiled at me, it was the most peaceful smile I've ever seen, and the light above her seemed to convey her answer to me. When the light touched me, I felt like I was floating. It was like being embraced by warmth and love. All my questions and doubts seemed to disappear, replaced by a deep sense of connection and understanding. It was an indescribable feeling of love and joy, unlike anything I've ever felt before. I felt more at home, and everything became even more real. Every detail around me seemed magnified, and I felt connected to everything. It was as if I knew everything, understood everything. Any question I had, I already knew the answer. There were no limits to what I could comprehend. It felt like I had always been part of the universe and always would be. Time didn't seem to exist. Past, present, and future all converged into one moment. As all of this unfolded, I begged, pleading not to return to Earth. Days earlier, I had felt my bones breaking, endured inflammation, and endured night sweats. From that agony to feeling so magnificent, something reassured me that everything would be fine, my family, myself, and eventually they would be there too. I didn't worry about returning, I just wanted to stay. As I gazed up toward the divine light, it grew brighter, and I could see less and less. But the more I looked up, the less I could see. I knew I was about to return. I felt like if I continued towards the bright light, I wouldn't come back. It was like something greater stopped me, letting me feel those things but not letting me go further. I was between heaven and earth, almost reaching the top of the light above me. Then a voice, unlike any I'd ever heard, came from above, neither male nor female, but divine and magical. It softly said, "Not your time yet." Suddenly, I felt myself moving away from that heavenly light, leaving that heavenly but strange place. I returned, flying through space at an amazing speed, passing galaxies until I landed back on Earth. I found myself in South Florida, at Jackson Hospital in Miami, back in my own body. The change was instant, faster than anything. When I woke up, my family and doctors were around me. Tears filled my eyes as I realized I had died and come back. At first, it felt far away, like a very deep dream. It took days for the memories to come back, as if my angels and higher self had kept them until I was ready. A week later, I remembered everything about my passing. The memories were clear, showing me that it was real. It was strange because months before this, I had met the homeless man mentioned earlier, even though it had been almost a year since we last met. The timing of our meeting and my near-death experience felt more than just chance. I saw him again about 10 months later, around September or October 2017. Before this, our talks were normal, about sports, money, and everyday things. We never talked about anything spiritual or beyond regular life. But when we met again, something changed. I greeted him warmly, not mentioning my leukemia or near-death experience. But as soon as he said hello, he exclaimed, "Oh my God, I have to tell you something." He told me an amazing story from about 10 months before. He said that one night, around 3 o'clock to 3:30 a.m., he was sleeping at a bus stop when he suddenly woke up. He saw a huge angel made of light standing in front of him, holding a divine sword and big wings. The angel seemed to be watching over him, keeping him safe. He blinked, and the angel was gone. It was a strange experience he never had before. I asked him for the exact date of this encounter. He said it was in late November 2016, the same time I had my near-death experience. I realized that while I was journeying through the spiritual realm, he had an angel watching over his body, making sure he was safe. This discovery gave me chills, confirming that my experience was real. It made me believe even more in life after death. Many who go through near-death experiences see life differently afterward. For those who want to keep believing in this new way of seeing things, services like Keeps offer help and support.